Hare Krishna. This morning we will discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 11, Lord Krishna's entrance into Dvaraka. Today we will discuss text 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottanam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadev, the author. Nastvirja Abhatrasu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, Bhagavatu Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regular attendance in the classes of Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, although his troublesome to the heart is almost nearly destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead who is praised with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Text 36. Udamabhava Vishunamalavalahasa Vidya Valoka Nyato Madano Piyasam Samoya Sapam Achaha Pramado Tamasta Yasyandayam Vimatitum Kutaher Naseko. Translation. Word for word translation first. Udama, very grave. Bhava, expression. Pisuna, exciting. Amala, spotless. Valakuhasa, beautiful smiling. Vriddha, corner of the eye. Avaloka, looking. Nihata, conquered. Madana, Cupid, or Amadana, the great tolerant Shiva. Api, also. Yasam, whose. Samuya, being overpowered by. Chapam, both. Achahat, gave up. Pramada, women. Women who madden. Uttama, of high grade. Ta, all. Yasya, whose. Indriyam, senses. Vimaitum, to perturb. Kuakai, by magical feats. Na, never. Seko, was able. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even a tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still, despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. Report. The path of salvation or the path of going back to Godhead always forbids the association of women, and the complete Sanatan Dharma or Varnashram Dharma scheme forbids or restricts association with women. How then can one be accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is addicted to more than 16,000 wives? This question may be relevantly raised by inquisitive persons really anxious to know about the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. And to answer such questions, the sages at Namisaranya have discussed the transcendental character of the Lord in this verse and the following verses. It is clear herein that the feminine attractive features which can conquer Cupid or even the super most tolerant Lord Shiva could not conquer the senses of the Lord. Cupid's business is to invoke mundane lust. The whole universe is moving due to being agitated by Cupid's arrows. The activities of the world are being carried on by the central attraction of male and female. A male is searching after a mate to his liking, and a female is looking after a suitable male. That is the way of material stimulus. And as soon as a male is combined with a female, the material bondage of a living being is at once tightly interlocked by the sex relation, and as a result of this, both the male's and the female's attraction for the illusory field of activities known as sweet home, motherland, bodily offspring, society, friendship, and accumulation of wealth increases. Thus a false but indefatigable attraction for the temporary material existence, which is full of miseries, is manifest. Therefore, those who are on the path of salvation for going back to God, back home, back to Godhead, are especially advised by all scriptural instruction to become free from such paraphernalia of material attraction. And that is possible only by the association of devotees of the Lord, who are called the Mahatmas. Cupid throws his arrows upon the living being to make them mad after the opposite sex, whether the party is actually beautiful or not. Cupid's provocations are going on even among beastly societies, who are all ugly looking in the estimation of the civilized nations. Thus Cupid's influence is exerted even amongst the ugliest forms, and what to speak of the most perfect beauties. Lord Shiva, who is considered to be most tolerant, was also struck by Cupid's arrows when he became mad after the Moinic incarnation of the Lord and acknowledged himself to be defeated. Cupid, however, was himself captivated by the grave and exciting dealings of the goddess of fortune, and he voluntarily gave up his bow and arrows in a spirit of frustration. Such was the beauty and attraction of the queens of Lord Krishna. Yet they could not disturb the transcendental senses of the Lord. This is because the Lord is all perfect and thus Atmaram, or self-sufficient. It does not require anyone's extraneous help for personal satisfaction. Therefore, the queens could not satisfy the Lord by their feminine attractiveness, but they satisfied him by their sincere affection and service. Only by unalloyed transcendental loving service could they satisfy the Lord, and the Lord was pleased to treat them as wives in reciprocation. Thus being satisfied by their unalloyed service only, the Lord reciprocated the service, just like a devout husband. Otherwise he had no business becoming the husband of so many wives. He is the husband of everyone, but to one who accepts him as such he reciprocates. Thus unalloyed affection for the Lord is never be compared to mundane lust. It is purely transcendental. And the grave dealings with the queens displayed in natural feminine base were also transcendental, because the feelings were expressed out of transcendental ecstasy. It is already explained in the previous verse that the Lord appeared like a mundane husband, but factually, his relation with his wives was transcendental, pure, and unconditioned by the modes of material nature. I read the translation again. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. Om Arjana Timrandasya Chinanjala Shlakya Shaksharanmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Manobishtam Staptam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupakama Tatkamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiro Shiyuda Padkamalam Shirum Vaishnavamsha Shri Upam Sarkachatam Saganaraghanatatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savrutam Pajan Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivishakam Vitam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sinodinod Bandho Jatpate Gopesha Kopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamama Hari Priya Vankha Kalpta Visha Kripa Sinavisha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. So, Lord Krishna is entering Dwarka. All the queens have been separated from Krishna from a long, long time. And they were constantly meditating on him, thinking on him. They developed great feelings of separation. So these feelings of separation depends on relationship. If you take a train and you reach the end station, you separate from all the others and you don't care, you don't have a relationship. But if you have a relationship, it becomes different. That they're feeling great separation for. And finally, Krishna comes back to Dwarka. Here it is said although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances. What does furtive mean? It's furtive, according to the dictionary, is secret, clandestine, quick, trying to hide. So they offer quick glances, not showing them to Krishna. So that is culture. Culture means controlling one's mind and senses and acting according to customs, acting according to culture. That so yes, because otherwise, when we let our emotions go, that is material life. That control the emotions, but they felt very attractive, and therefore these furtive glances. These glances are short, but are between the queens and Krishna. Nobody could see them, only Krishna. So, because a glance here, it's subtle, not measurable. But, so they could, in the verses, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord by their beauty, by their smiles. And Prabhupada in this long purport addresses the indefatigable force of Cupid. It means this bombardment with lust, it keeps going. When you get older, you don't become free from lust. No, that doesn't happen. But here the queens, they are not associating with Krishna based on this lust. They are associating in a spiritual way. So yes, Krishna remembers all living entities because he is part and parcels and by nature very intimately connected with him. That the Prabhupada disciples said that Srila Prabhupada sometimes asked, well, what is the name of this disciple? Because he did not remember. But yes, but Krishna remembers every living entity. Because we are all his servants. So in this verse, we learn Krishna was not addicted to his wives. He was transcendental. His queens could not attract him with mundane lust. Not possible. But we see that Krishna is controlled by Radharani and by the love of the Vrajavasis. Krishna is called Madan Mohan, the one who can control Cupid. It's not influenced by Cupid. But Radharani is called Madan Man Mohini, one who controls the controller of Cupid. Because Krishna is more attracted to the love of the Vrajavasis. Is more attracted to the love of the Vrajavasis than to the residents of Dwarka. Because the residents of Vraj, they have a more intense love for Krishna. And Prabhupada describes in the property, sex attraction binds us to this world. But it binds us to this world. But the first thing we need we learn in Bhagavad Gita is we are not a body, we do not belong to this world. That so Srila Prabhupada gave us what we needed to hear, what we were ready for to hear. And and because it's not good to try to teach things to people for which they are not ready, for which they don't have the required adhikar. So like the ultimate dealings between Radha and Krishna, they are not for the general people. These topics should be shared among those with the required suitability, who have the realization. Right at the end of the 10th canto, there at Kurukshetra, Vasudeva is performing a sacrifice, great sacrifice, and the queens are there, and the Pandavas. And after that sacrifice, they take a bath, and they were throwing water on each other and milk products, and the saris of the women became wet, and you could see the form of their breasts and so on. And Prabhupada writes, yes, people with polluted consciousness, they will develop lust by seeing this, by even hearing about it. Because most people, why are they approaching God? To get more sense gratification, to go to heaven. But it's not bhakti. Bhakti is anyabilasita sunyam. That you have many many processes leading up to self-realization. The tyagis, those who perform austerities, it's higher. They give up sense gratification. It's higher. But their envy towards Krishna is not removed from the heart. There are still traces of this envy. That to remove that, we need to hear in a way that our service attitude increases. That's essential. We see that Radharani appears to be envious of Chandravali. When Krishna is with Chandravali, Radharani appears to be envious. But unless we have the proper understanding of Ananda Sinmaya Maya, the atmosphere of complete bliss, we will drown ourselves up to Krishna's platform artificially. And we think we are on a higher platform, or we think that Krishna is on our platform. So some think, yeah, I will feel like a gopi when I dress as a gopi. But this is nonsense. One must purify the heart by hearing, chanting, remembering. So Srila Prabhupada is purpose preparing us gradually to come to that level. It's a process. One cannot jump to that higher level. Srila Prabhupada is preaching, you are not a body. So we need to hear that repeatedly. One devotee in the beginning said, ask Prabhupada, every time you say that we are not a body, but yes, we understand now, can we go a little further? Prabhupada said, yes, that you hear it, but you don't realize it. So therefore, you have to hear it repeatedly. Because it's very easy to identify with the body. We say sometimes it's cold in the winter at Govardhan, but that's body conception. That's for the body. So yes, we will become, the purpose is we should become servant of Krishna or devotee of Radharani. A Gaudiya is a devotee of Radharani, explains Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj. So one must be ready to hear Krishna's Rasa Lila. A couple came to Prabhupada and said to Prabhupada, please tell us about Krishna's Rasa Lila. And Prabhupada said, no, I cannot do that. So they asked him 3 times. And the 3rd time, Prabhupada said, you may be eligible to hear it, but I'm not pure enough to speak about it. That was Prabhupada. I'm not qualified to speak about it, he said. He said, I'm not qualified. So he was very careful with that. Prabhupada also said brahmachari should not read Rasa Lila. Interesting. In the 70s in Los Angeles, they formed the Gopi Bhava Club. So, because in Chaitanya Charitamrita it said, yeah, if one reads Rasa Lila and hears about it, well, one will become purified. But when Prabhupada heard it, he said, stop it. Stop this nonsense. They will not become purified. They will become putrefied and heavy. So this is realistic. That so if one hears Rasa Lila and one sees that one lust increases, one must stop immediately. That one must first become purified by going to the first 10 cantos. That in the beginning of the 10th canto texts, I think it's 10:14. Parikshit Maharaj said, Nirvita Tasera Paryamanat Basod Sadakshotva Mano Biramat. That, yes, to hear about Krishna directly, one must be Nirsita Takser, free from lust. And free from lust, how does one become free? Bhaval Sadak Sotra Manobhiramat. One must take a
Are
medicine.
you
Bhaval
are you looking for
Sadak.
the verse, Maharaj? I have the verse with me if you need it. Sorry.
Bhaval Sadak Shotva Manobhiramat. That
निवृत्ततर्षैर् उपगीयमाणात् भवौषधात् श्रोत्रमनोभिरामात्.
so yes, one should be ready to be purified when we reach the 10th canto. So Prabhupada writes at the end of the second canto, if you are not free from gross lust, then you have to go back to the first and second canto and read it again. Otherwise, don't continue with the third canto. That's at the end of the second canto. This is gross lust, but then the subtle lust, to remove that, that's much more heavy. But one must also be free from most of this subtle lust before going to the 10th canto and hear about Krishna. Otherwise, one will misunderstand his pastimes. The Srila Prabhupada was very cautious in this matter. He did not reveal his Swarup, that when Vishaka asked him what his position was in the spiritual world, Prabhupada said, that you don't require that. But Prabhupada wanted us to give to us the highest, but gradually through education, purification. Otherwise, we will be falsely directed. That some went to the Gaudiya Math because they were thinking Prabhupada didn't give us everything. But no, from the moment the heart becomes purified, Krishna reveals himself. The process of revelation. Prabhupada gave us the process and everything required. Raganuga Bhakti is the higher sphere when the heart is purified. One cannot start Raganuga if one has not attained Nishta. Nishta is liberation. So what are the tests of liberation? At the platform of liberation there is no suffering anymore, zero. You don't identify with the body anymore. There's no question of experience lust because you don't identify with the body. Lust will be there until the end of life because the body is made of lust. That's part of it. When Prabhupada was giving a lecture in somewhere at the West Coast in America, but it's San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Francisco, I think. After the class, a devotee asked Prabhupada quite a direct question. At that time, there was not so much etiquette. And the devotee asked Prabhupada, are you free from lust? And Prabhupada said no. After the lecture, Prabhupada went out, and the devotee who asked that question opened the door. He opened the door of a car. Prabhupada was going to another temple. And when Prabhupada saw him and he opened the door, then Prabhupada said, yes, I'm not free from lust, but I have no time for it. Always too busy engaged with Krishna consciousness. And that's the method. We are too busy with by engagement in Krishna consciousness. So if we identify with the body, we eat too much, we do all these things, but when you are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, then no time for it. And that's the process of devotional service. Rishikena, Sevanam Bhakti Uttama. Yeah, this is the verse of Narada Muni. Sarvapad Nirmuktam Tat Parat Vana Nirmalim Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Utsati. That one should give up the upadis, all the false identifications, and stop engaging in in pleasing the senses of the body, but instead please the body, please the senses of the Supreme Lord. And that is called pure devotional service, bhakti. So this is important for us to understand. This lust will not go away. But we should concentrate on our service in Krishna, on the chanting. And then our attention will not go to that. And then we come out under the sway of this lust. That from the moment you stop a moment serving Krishna and you think of mundane things, lust is there. And there's no way out than devotional service. And that we have seen all the other processes, the Tyagis, the Jnanis, Astanga Yogis, they all got temporary, some temporary relief. But they have to come back to the material platform because they want an engagement. And the proper engagement for the spiritual soul is Savai Pumsa Prodramo Yato Bhaktiradoksha Ahait Kapatiyata Yatma Shubhashidati. The highest occupation for mankind is pure devotional service. Unmotivated and uninterrupted. There you have that point. So whatever we do, we have to connect with Krishna 24 hours a day. And by hearing about Krishna, we will become attracted to Krishna, like the queens, and develop these feelings of separation. Krishna is always with us in our heart. It's not something artificial. He's there. And these queens, they were very, very careful not to let them overwhelmed by their emotions. But they were so attracted, hence they throw these furtive glances. Also the gopis, they did that. When Krishna in the morning is going to the forest, and with the cowherd boys, and the girls, they are hiding in the bushes. And it's there in the Bhagavatam, at the corner of their eyes, they glanced at Krishna. And Krishna, he took them, he took away their mind. He stole their mind, Manohar. And during the whole day, when Krishna was herding the cows, they could only think of Krishna. So then, when we always think of Krishna, we become peaceful inside. And then we will not fall victim to this illusion that, and we have seen that with Haridas Thakur, who was challenged by a prostitute. But he had no time. He had no time, always chanting. So we should not have time for Maya. If we make time for Maya, Maya will be very pleased and engage us. And we suffer. Suffer is unlimited. Maya offers so many varieties. Thinking ourselves the body, this, that, attached to family life and so on. Yeah. I remember 35 years ago, my entire family rejected me. And now people tell me about their miseries. And all their miseries comes to attachment to family, attachment to this and that. I don't have that, because it's all gone by Krishna's mercy. But I don't have these miseries. Why then you have these miseries? Am I unfortunate that my family rejected me? No, I'm fortunate that I'm in association of devotees now and can make progress, stay far away from Maya. So these are lessons to be learned. Attachment to relationships in this world means suffering. Attachment to Krishna means freedom from suffering. And Ananda Sinmaya, this great spiritual bliss. And thus the bliss of the residents of Vrindavan, the bliss of the residents of Dwarka, all in different intensities. But that is what I could say on this verse today. Any comments, questions, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have a quick question.
Yes, Charan Kumar.
Thank you for your class. And I just wanted to ask what you were saying about avoiding the descriptions of the rasa dance in the 10th canto. Does this also apply the same to the Krishna book?
No, the Krishna book is very special because Prabhupada has mixed it with philosophy, which helps us to understand it more clearly. So the danger is not so much there in Krishna book. That Prabhupada protects us through his purports. But still we should not discuss this intimately with devotees unless we are on a higher platform. There's a difference between reading and then discussing it with devotees. This should be discussed after liberation. Otherwise, we don't have open classes on Rasa Lila. Although we discuss it now in the Bhagavatam also. I remember before, when I joined Radha Darshan, I think they went 3 times to the entire Bhagavatam, up to the 10th canto, to the chapter, and to the last verse Prabhupada discussed in the Brahma Moha Lila. And then they went back to the 3rd canto always. But now they went through and they are for the first time discussing the 10th canto. They are now chapter 80 or something. Because the votes are a little more advanced through the years. Many are there, 20, 30 years, 40 years. And then the danger is not so big. So we have to consider that. Discuss first the first 10 cantos and try to realize them. That privately we can read it if we are advanced, because There's the platform of Raganuga. I started to speak on that. You must be liberated to come to Raganuga. And what is the platform that you can start Raganuga? It's a platform where you approach him a lot of taste. Taste comes. That means you are entering the liberated realm. And then Nectar of Devotion says you should hear and discuss about a resident of Vrindavan you are attracted to. Krishna will reveal that from in your heart. That attraction will come up. It will be natural because that's your Svarup. It's not something that you develop. We don't develop a relationship. Spiritual means eternal. It's there in your heart. It will be revealed. Not develop. Develop is a material concept. If you think in terms of developing such a relationship, you are on a material body platform. No, that relationship is there. It must be revealed. It's in the heart. That's our Svarup. It will be revealed and it will be natural for us because that's our natural position in the spiritual world. And then you hear about this devotee that then this is the Ragatmika Bhakta or the eternal associate from Vrindavan. And you try to follow in that mood, and that's Raganuga. But that platform is very high, and many of us will not attain it in this lifetime. But even if you don't attain it in this lifetime, and you are close to liberation, then you may take birth in a universe where Krishna is his pastimes and be trained further up. That's already a spiritual birth, Prabhupada says. That because someone asked Prabhupada, if we are 90% pure, will Krishna accept us? Prabhupada said yes, and 85%, and Prabhupada said yes, but it would not go lower than 80%. So we will be trained up further. But we cannot jump to that platform. That's just dangerous. The kind of spiritual suicide, trying to artificially jump to it. And yeah, but still, devotees want to read about these things. And some go to the Gaudiya Math or other institutions where these things can be obtained cheap. Therefore, Shiva Rama wrote his books on Rasa Lila and so on. Because in these books are written according to the 6 Goswamis and Prabhupada's teachings and explain things very carefully. So Shiva Maharaj said to avoid that they go to outside of ISKCON, they can read these books. But we must be ready also for that. But when we perform devotional service, Anyapilasa Sunyam, we will feel satisfied in heart. And there will be no need for these things to jump. But we have to properly apply it. That means no other motivation than trying to serve Krishna. And that takes a while to come to that platform usually. But we should try. Try to give our life to Prabhupada's mission. That's the same thing. Any other question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, thank you for the nice class. uh, so my question is that when we talk about Krishna's relationships with the Vrajavasis, uh, sometimes it is said that, in fact, we worship Krishna only because he happens to be dear to Radharani. Uh, we are primarily worshippers of Radharani, but somehow because she likes Krishna, therefore we worship Krishna. And Krishna is just an ornament of Radharani, merely. So these statements make us understand that Radharani's or the Vrajavasi's love is so superior to any other outside devotee. But at the same time, it is said that Krishna is not also is Atmaram. He's not attracted to anyone in that sense. He doesn't need anyone. He's just reciprocating for their love. So, how do we understand these two statements together?
Yes, Srimati Radharani is a special position. She is Krishna's Ladini Shakti, Krishna's spiritual energy, that as a energy of bhakti, that we are not on this level. That so Krishna is controlled by Radharani. Therefore, we must approach Krishna through Radharani. How do we do that? The spiritual master is a representative of Radharani. If we please the spiritual master, we please Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani will approach Krishna and say, "Oh Krishna, this devotee is better than me. Please be merciful, accept him." So that is the process that, so yes, that's the process for us to approach Krishna. That through Srimati Radharani, we have to connect with Krishna's internal potency, Ladini Shakti, and that's Radharani. She cannot be compared with anyone else. That is not possible. That, yeah. Is that okay, Krishna Archanko?
Yes, Paras. Yes. My question was little bit in lines with if Krishna is Atma Rama,
Yeah.
self-satisfied, then how can he be under the control of Radharani? It was like that.
Yeah, is Atma Rama self-satisfied? And that, but of course, is under control of Radharani. That in the sense that Radharani forces him to reciprocate. So Krishna is an interesting Radharani that appears from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It may be Atmaram but is interested in the feelings of Srimati Radharani. How it seems I'm Atmaram, but it means she experienced more bliss than me. How is it possible that I want to experience it? And Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That, yes. But Krishna is attracted to Radharani. this is an inconceivable esoteric truth. When I get self-realized, I may realize that. I will let you know at that time. Good.
Thank you, Varas. That was nice. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Something else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the class. I really appreciate the emphasis on the caution of what we are hearing, even in relation to spiritual matters. My question is when you were mentioning how Srila Prabhupada said that he was clarifying his lust, that he engages himself so much in Krishna consciousness that he doesn't think about it. For him, I can understand this or I can accept, but for someone like myself, if we still have these things like lust, anger, greed, like we might not be able to engage ourselves. Or if you've heard of that term, this term spiritual bypassing, how do we know? Like, I often relate it to if someone has a physical pain and then taking a pill, it doesn't like address the issue. So, how do we know when we can like spiritually bypass something, or we should really look deeper into that anartha to progress?
Yeah, we cannot bypass. You have to remove the anartha.
Okay.
What Prabhupada said, yeah, yes, I have lust, but Prabhupada was pure.
Right.
That he said that to teach us.
Mhm.
But for us, it's true.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful with that. That, yes, that. But we have to purify our heart, and then the lust will diminish. But as long as we have a material body, there is lust, possibility of lust inflaming again. So we have to be very careful, very cautiously, and learn the art to be absorbed in our spiritual relationship with Krishna through our service.
Mhm.
Absorbed in our service, that we do our deity worship and so on. That is something we must learn. That and when we become purified, we can, like that in Bhajan Rahasya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains many things we can do to improve our bhajan. Bhajan means our service and our absorption in Krishna in that service.
Mhm.
That increase that. Of course, you have the 5 most potent items of devotional service. That's the key. That and sometimes, when we can go to Vrindavan and live there, that's even better. Even better if it's close to Govardhan. But we can also do that in the temple where we live and create our little Vrindavan there. That I found, if you ever go to Vraja, New Vrajadam in Hungary, their farm, they created a replica of Vrindavan with all the kunds, everything is there. And that's very nice. And they are also deeply absorbed there in Krishna's service. So therefore Prabhupada created temples, holy places, with that purpose to help us remember Krishna. Yeah. Good, thank you very much. Then I will see you next week at the same time, but of course this evening we have the Nectar of Instruction class. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Jai.
Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Bhakti Prabha Maharaj ki jai. Shri
Jai.
Prabhupada ki.
प्रभुपाद की जय।